Hey, so in this video I'm gonna show you and explain to you how to build a proper driveway. And these original two pictures is the original driveway. These pictures were taken in 2005. That's when we bought the house, and I believe the driveway was about 1 to 2 years old. So the driveway looked very good. It had no cracks, no buckles, no oil stains. So, it represented itself very well, and especially for the house. And I think it was built, for the sale of the house. So when we bought the house, the driveway was in pristine condition, and it was pretty much new. Now forward 10 years later, the driveway started to buckle up, especially in the springtime. Although I had a pretty big pickup truck parked in there, and it didn't help the situation where when I was driving out and the snow was melting out, there was like water coming underneath the driveway out. So we knew that the driver was pretty much giving up, and that was the end of its cycle. And that's when I figured out that it must be a very thin layer of asphalt laid down, and it just started to buckle and started breaking up apart, especially in the middle of the driveway where also it pushed out to the sides, and the driveway started to look bad, and it was time to start thinking about replacing it. But I didn't have the funds to replace it yet, and at the same time I said, you know what, there's other things more important to save up for than like a furnace breaking down than a driveway. So the pictures right now are about 12 years later after the original pictures, and this is the time where I started to think about replacing the driveway. So these are 2017 pictures, summer of 2017. This is at its peak state of worst use, and it was time to replace the driveway. So it was time to find a paving company. I called a few companies. One company said that it would cost. He doesn't know what's underneath the paved driveway, and he said that just to dig out the old material, if it's bad, it would cost $4,500 plus the rest of the work. I figured that's way too much for it, so I just told him no, thank you, and I found another company. The person came on time for an appointment, and they seemed pretty good. Reviews were pretty good online, and he said that they're gonna do the whole job for $3,000. So we agreed on removing the paved asphalt. He said specifically, we're just removing the paved asphalt, and I said, yeah. He goes, they're gonna remove the asphalt, put down some crushed stone in some areas if needed, run it over with the roller. And I said, sure, if that's the way it's done, it's done. And they did that. I paid them half of the money, so $1,500 for removing the asphalt and leveling the driveway. And he said that we should let it set up for at least a month. So I said no problem. The next day it rained, and I drove my car up on the driveway, and it left tire marks in on the paved on the stones that they laid down and drove over with the roller. And I wasn't it didn't feel right. And even when I walked on it, it was my shoes were indenting the soil, the crushed stone. So I said, no, something's not right. So I called him back, and he said that it will settle. Give it some time. Don't worry. That's the way it's done. This and that. But I just didn't feel right about it. I was spending all this money, and I didn't want a cheap job. I wanted to spend better money and have a good job. So I actually called back the original company that quoted me $4,500 just to dig up the driveway. He advised me to take a pick and uh, dig out in a few spots and see what's underneath. So I did that. So I did that in 4 places of the driveway, and I found that the crushed stone was about 2 inches, and underneath was all clay, just clay, thick clay compacted together. and actually in one hole I put water in. I filled it up with water, and the water stayed there for a week. I said, no, this is not right. There's no way you could pave over this soft clay and have a proper driveway. This driveway is going to last like 2-3 years before it starts showing signs of wear and tear. It's going to look like the old one. So I decided not to go with the company. I told them not to come back here. I lost my money I overpaid for removing the old driveway. I mean, a job like that should cost no more than $800 and or even less. So I kind of lost some money there, but I learned a thing or two. So I had the next company come in, and he explained what he's gonna do, and I hired them to do the driveway. So I decided to go with the new company. Now the new company quoted me $8,500. This is Canadian. $8,500 to dig out the old base and the clay that's underneath, and also install interlock patio in the front and on the side, 1 foot of interlock on the side and then a patio. So I thought that was a pretty good price, and the company started doing their work. They came with the Bobcat. Started removing all the garbage base that was there. It was all clay underneath, as you can see, and it was, he removed a lot. He said he removed more than he thought that there would be. In total, he removed, because this is 1,000 square feet driveway, he removed about 40, it was about 40 cubic yards of clay. So that was a lot of material that had to go. The next step that he did, he put down 3/4 crushed rock, about 2.5 inches, laid that over, used a diesel compactor to go over the whole area. He watered it, so that way it was more compacted. And then like I said, he went over with the diesel compactor, and then again, he did another 2 inches, 2.5. Again, he ran over it with a diesel compactor, and then a third and last time, lay the rest of the base, which was again 2 inches, 2.5, whatever. And he compacted with the diesel compactor machine. When he used the machine, the whole house shook, and then everything shook. Like, this was a properly done job. He compacted it very well. Like, I was there to see it, and it was done properly. And then the next step was for the paver company he did the work, and he subcontracted a paving company to actually lay down the pavement. The $8,500 job did not include the material, meaning the stones. The stones I bought separately. I bought them actually used. I went on like a Craigslist, actually here in Canada it's Kijiji, and I found somebody selling the stones, which cost me $1 per square foot. Now, if I went and bought new stones this color, they would cost me around $1,700. So I got a pretty good break. And what I did is basically I just rented a Home Depot truck, and it took me about an hour to get to the place where the stones were. It took me about 3 trips to bring the stones, and I just stacked them, and they were ready for installation. So the final step was putting down the asphalt, which was a subcontract company by the original subcontractor who dug out the driveway. Originally, I was supposed to get 3 inches compacted into 2 inches, but I actually got 4 inches compacted into 2 inches. So I got really lucky on that. And also the asphalt was road grade asphalt and not like a regular home driveway asphalt, because their next job was a road that they were paving. So the asphalt that I got put down was road grade. So at this point, I could honestly say that this driveway is going to last 50 or even more years, because this road grade asphalt is very strong. It's a different compound and different size stone, and I believe it's going to last 50 years. Plus, really, like, there's not a lot of cars driving on the driveway. It's just up and down, and that's it. So, I could say that almost this driveway could outlast the house. Um, so yeah, the job was done perfectly. The slope of the driveway was going away from the house to the left and down the driveway. So the job was really well done. I'm pretty proud of the driveway, the way it was done, and looks good. I can honestly say that it's the best looking driveway on my block, and probably the toughest driveway on the block also. So pretty much this is the finished product here, the driveway with the stones on the side. Here I had to, so basically this whole frame here, I mean this edge is a metal edge, it goes into the ground, it's about 6 inches. I painted it with roof tar and some old paint. Here I had to put some kind of protection, because if somebody is driving out and if they go on top of this, they could literally just slice their tire. So this is some protection here. The stone goes all the way up, and also on the other side. So the metal sides, they're in pieces. As you can see here, it's joined. It's I mean, they're about 10 to 6 feet long. They have stakes in the ground they go in. There is some spaces here. Maybe I'll fill them in the spring. This is the patio here. This is the front of the home. And the patio just basically joins all the way down to the street. And then coming around to the rear patio. This is the actual part that I did myself. So the stones here on the side and the slabs. These are just temporary stairs that I had to do. Now the reason that I left this air conditioning in because I didn't want to move it, and I'll move it when it breaks down. I'll just move it down to somewhere this area here. Right now there's no need for it, because if I move it, something might break on it and I'll just have to replace the new AC, so I don't want to do that. So I have the stones ready. When it breaks down, I will take this whole thing apart and move it. And I made this little roof because obviously now this area here is a lot lower than the patio, and if there's any water coming down, it will go into in the back there against the foundation. And you definitely don't want any water hitting your foundation, because it will freeze, and in the winter it might freeze and crack your foundation, and then you have a crack, and then water coming in and all that stuff, right? So the whole driveway is slanted. The whole patio is slanted towards the driveway, so if it's raining, all the water will come down, and then
the driveway is slanted down towards the street. I don't know what angle, but pretty much you want all the water to come down away from the house and away from, I guess, from the property.